Welcome, friends. I'm Mother Sylvia. God welcomes you, and God welcomes all, strangers and friends. God's love is strong and it never ends. Let's sing. God welcomes all, strangers and friends. God's love is strong and it never ends. God welcomes all, strangers and friends. God's love is strong and it never ends. God's love is strong and it never ends. God's love and peace are always all around us. But sometimes we have to stop, to slow down and pay attention and get ready to receive those gifts. When we come to chapel, the first way we get ready is we slow down and notice the colors. What is the color today? Still green. Still part of this great green growing season, the longest season in the circle of the church year, the season of creation. Icons can also help us get ready. This is an icon of Saint Francis, who reminded us that God is alive in every part of creation, and that we need to care for creation the way we would care for a brother or a sister. Candles can help us get ready. Light a candle and remember that the light of God's love and peace is already shining in you and all around you wherever you are. Take a deep breath. Sometimes it helps to have fragrant oils to remind us to take a deep breath, like this frankincense and myrrh, the same fragrant oils that the wise men brought to the baby Jesus. Let's take a deep breath. The sound of a bell ringing can help us get ready. Help us get ready to listen to the sound and the silence where God is. And if you have a rock, you might take it in your hands. A rock can remind us of hard and rough and heavy things. Sometimes we need to stop and notice what feels hard and rough and heavy in our lives. Only then can we set it down or ask God to help us with the hard things. The word in Hebrew for peace is shalom. We remember it this way. Try it with me. Let's sing. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, 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 my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom, shalom to the chapel, shalom, Mother Sylvia, shalom, shalom, shalom to you, shalom everybody, shalom, shalom. Then gather God's peace, which is all around you. Rub it together between your hands, and when you feel it grow nice and warm, bring your hands to your head and feel the peace of God fill your thoughts and your mind. Gather God's peace, which is surrounding you. Rub it together between your hands, and when it grows nice and warm, bring your warm hands to your heart and feel the peace of God fill up your heart. gather God's peace, which is all around you. Rub it together between your hands, and when you feel it grow nice and hot, bring your hands to your belly or your legs, or whatever part of your body needs a little more peace and love today. And feel the peace of God fill up your whole body and your heart and your mind. Breathe in God's peace and breathe out God's peace. And now, get ready to listen. In the church, we have this great big golden gospel book, which is full of stories about Jesus and his life. But God doesn't only speak to us in one book. God speaks to us in every book and everything. This is a book called Child of Faerie, Child of Earth by Jane Yolen. And some people in the world are getting ready to celebrate Halloween, which is a short way of saying what we in the olden days called All Hallows Eve. And All Hallows Eve is the night before All Saints and All Souls Day in the church, which is when we remember all of the spirits of all of the people who have ever lived. So, as some people are getting ready to celebrate Halloween or All Hallows Eve, I thought we might listen to a story that's set at that time. It's a story about friendship. Child of Faerie, Child of Earth. Oops. He was a child of fairy folk, a child of sky and air, and she was a child of humankind, of earth and toil and care. They met in the dusk of Hallows Eve, when widows grieve and widows weave. They met in the dark of Hallows Eve. She had flowers in her hair. And where do you go, O child of earth? Oh, why do you wander here? Are you not afraid of the fairy race, whose castles are so near? My mamma says there's no such thing as fairy wing and elven ring. She says there's never been such thing, and I should have no fear. He took her by her dirt-soiled hand and led her to his hall. He showed her brownies and bogles and sprites and elven folk and all. She ate the grass, she drank the dew, the fairy brew of rainbow hue. She danced all night with the elven crew and didn't sleep at all. Oh, stay with me, dear human child. Become a child of night. We'll dance between the hollow hills, bedecked in candlelight. And ever after Halloween, clothed all in green, my fairy queen, you'll be the loveliest ever seen, the elven court's delight. She looked around the fairy hall beneath the hollow hill, and all the glamour round her spun to bend her to his will. But with a sigh she shook her head. That's not my bread and drink, she said. I cannot on your food be fed, and still my needs fulfill. But since I've danced with you this night, this day you'll dance with me. She took him by his grass-green sleeve and led him over the lea. She led him down the farmyard road, past meadows mowed and gardens hoed. She led him over the human road, and full of awe was he. They stroked the cat, they milked the cow, they fed each chick and hen. He marveled at the sounds and smells of barn and yard and pen. He drank cold milk and ate brown bread. He made a bed, he cleaned a shed. He followed everywhere she led, then round about again. Oh, stay with me, dear fairy child, and live here on the land. We'll till the soil, we'll plow the field, we'll harvest hand in hand. The night is fair, but day is best, so be my guest, forget the rest. And on her suit she pressed, with strong and sure demand. He looked around the human world, a world of gold and brown, a world where farmyard turns to village, village into town, a world of colors pure and bright, of open sight, of warm sunlight, unlike the shadowed world of night, of moon and thistledown. He thought about the fairy halls, the fairy queens and kings. He thought about the cold, cold stars that shone on fairy rings. I miss my own, I cannot stay. You work, I play, I must away. I'll keep the night, and you the day. He stretched translucent wings. Oh, wait, she cried to him. At least a gift I'll give, reminding you that here above is where a friend does live. And through the daylight world again, past a denizen of barn and pen, she tracked past horse and cow and hen to find a gift to give. At last she found a fresh hen's egg, a gift from humankind, so he'd remember earth and toil when he'd left both behind. Then in return he touched the shell, and with a spell of fare thee well, extracted from that fragile shell a feather to remind. I give you this that comes from that, the fairy child replied. That egg and feather both shall serve as token and as guide, that we may both go arm in arm and fear no harm nor take alarm when visiting in hall or farm or other lands beside. The gifts exchanged, they each went back to homes they loved full well, but now and then they visited, helped by a fairy spell. And though the years flew quickly past, they were friends fast from first to last, which left all skeptics flabbergasted at how they did so well. Look, they've grown old, and they're still friends. So, if one lucky Hallows Eve you hear the night birds sing, and see a child of fairy guise with bright and gauzy wing, a flutter in a moonlit glade, and all arrayed in silver shade, be bold, be brave, be unafraid, and join that fairy ring. What a beautiful story about friendship between two friends who were so different, but that meant they could teach each other so much. It's so important to be friends and to make friends who are very different from us, because we have so much to share with one another, so much to learn from one another, so many gifts to give one another. And so, as you gather your prayer candle, I invite you to join me today in praying for friends, for your friends who are nearby, for friends who are far away. Who are the friends that you will hold in prayer today? This is also the time of year near All Hallows Eve and All Saints' Day, where we pray for our friends who we can't see, friends and family members and pets who have died. We still hold them in the light of God's love. Do you know someone who has died that you would like to pray for today? He invites you to hold those prayers close to your heart. Prayers for your friends, prayers for those who have died, holding them all in the light of God's love. God creates life. Life beholds beauty. Beauty begets love. Love is the life of God. God creates life. Life beholds beauty. Beauty begets love.
love is the life of God.
We draw those prayers, those friends, living and dead, into our hearts, and then we lift them up to God, who holds all of our prayers in God's heart. And now, once more, we gather God's peace, which is always around us, rub it together between our hands, and when we feel it grow nice and warm, open up our hands to send a blessing from us through our city to the ends of the earth.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Go in peace, friend. I will see you soon.